Good morning. I just wondered, mediums, when you are starting a private reading for someone, do you ever stop to actually tune into your person on a psychic level and consider what it is exactly that they need or want from their reading? Or do you just go straight into a spirit reading? Well, recently I did a private reading for someone and she'd booked an evidential private reading, and I went straight to work bringing through evidence, as I thought, of her loved ones in the spirit world. And I could tell, within the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes that this lady wasn't particularly receptive to the information that I was giving, although she was saying yes to everything. There was just something not quite right. I had a feeling that maybe she wanted something else, but I could not put my finger on what she wanted. And I do always give my clients a choice when they sit down. I say to them, don't tell me anything about your life or about any of your loved ones who've passed. But I do say, do you want a spirit reading? Do you want a tarot reading? Do you want a bit of both? Most people opt for a bit of both. And this lady had indeed opted for a bit of both. So I went straight in and gave her evidence, so I thought, from the spirit world. But I could tell something was off. And then I went to the card reading and I gave her information from the cards, as well as asking my guides and her loved ones in the spirit world for guidance with her cards, which is what I usually do. And at the end of the reading, I felt as if I'd, busted my little spiritual self for quite a while, busting my buttons, trying to give this evidence. And I could still feel she wasn't happy. So the long and the short of this was that at the end of it I said, so was that okay for you? And she said no. But this time I had worked for a good 50 minutes to an hour and I was exhausted. And so was she. And so were the spirits. So I said, okay, so what was wrong? What was it you were looking for? And she said, well, you've told me all that stuff about my mum, but I know that stuff about my mum. So, you've told me my mum liked a little cheroot when she was young. And you've told me that my mum loved stinking Bishop cheese. And you've told me that my mum was blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and as a child she looked Scandinavian, and everyone thought she was Swedish. And you've told me that my mum was the nicest person in the whole world, and I already know all that about my mum. So I said, well, what is it you were looking for? She says, well, I wanted my mum to tell me whether or not I should get married. So the marriage had come up in the tarot cards, but I hadn't given her an answer as to whether or not she should get married, because I don't feel that that's my place, or I don't think it's Spirit's place either to tell her you should marry this person. So I tried to explain that to her in the most gentle way, but it got me to thinking about how we market readings, how we advertise readings, how we explain things to people. So if you're interested in taking your mediumship to the next level, if you're interested in getting into the nitty-gritty of actually thinking about what you're doing and how you're doing it and raising the standards of your mediumship, then come and join me for a 3-hour intensive on Saturday the 20th of June on Zoom. I'm offering this 3-hour intensive course for anyone who's interested in raising the standards and really thinking about their mediumship, whether it be private readings or platform, and looking at what is it that we need to do to give not only evidence, but to prove that perhaps their loved ones still exist in this universe somewhere. And not only that, but to meet the need of the sitter as well. So come and join me this Saturday, the 20th of June, and we'll look at delving into that a little deeper.